Dear Lord Mayor, we're writing to tell you things we think would make Belfast even better. We moved to Belfast in 2020, and we really like it, but we think it needs a few improvements, and we heard you might be able to help. One of the improvements we think Belfast needs are more electric cars, because they are better for the environment than cars that use petrol. The second improvement is that we think Belfast needs is for more people to pick up all the litter they drop and put it in the bin. The third and last improvement is that we need to buy and sell more non-plastic items. Yours sincerely, Hannah and Lucas McMullen, aged 10 and 7. My idea to start the council meetings with a letter from a child or young person was to amplify their voices, to make them see that they have a place in the political arena, and to know that we were listening and that we cared. There was an ulterior motive, which I haven't mentioned before, and it's that at times the council meetings can be somewhat adversarial. Shocking, but politicians don't always behave as they should. And I thought the voices of children and young people might help set the tone. They did help set the tone, but in a way that I hadn't anticipated. The letters from people like Hannah and Lucas were sensible and thought out, and they'd come up with suggestions that were achievable, attainable. And when I looked at the countless letters that I've received since becoming Lord Mayor, one came from a 5-year-old boy who needs a new heart, and he wrote to me about organ donation. I received another from a group of young people with serious accessibility issues, and they raised the issues within public transport, and the CEO of Translink was very gracious to help out. Another one was from a young guy who arrived in Belfast as an unaccompanied child refugee, and the letter he wrote me was filled with such hope and such gratitude. And as I was looking at these issues that they sent to me, I was struck by, firstly, how concerned I was by the magnitude of what they experienced, how angry I was at how we'd let them down, and how genuinely frightened I am for their future. But what I was really conscious of was how personal the issues had become and how urgent I felt about them. And nothing scares me more as a mother or as Lord Mayor of Belfast than climate change, the effects of which pose the greatest risks economically, environmentally, socially, to the world in this decade and beyond. And by 2050, we need to take out as much carbon from the atmosphere as we're putting into it. And my son is going to be roughly the same age as me then. What is his life going to be like? Is he going to have children? What will their life be like? Young people don't want us to be hopeful or to see hope in them and inspired by them. They want us to act. They need us to act now. And that's what we've been trying to do in Belfast City Council. So in 2019, we declared a climate emergency. We set up a climate working group. We have a climate commissioner. We realized that we need to partner with the anchor institutions in our city, and we've been doing that. Alongside Queen's University, we developed a roadmap for how we achieve net zero by 2050. And within that roadmap, we identified that we need to decarbonize our economy through industry, transport, and housing, and that's where we're focused. But we also know we're a coastal city. We're at serious risk of flooding. And so we're looking at our green and blue spaces and looking at how we can mitigate against flooding, whilst also looking at how we enhance biodiversity. Because, as RSPB will tell you, it's not just a climate crisis, it's a nature crisis too. So we're looking at different things we can do, and we realize that in terms of the action, we have to be bold. We have to reimagine what the city centre is going to look like. Imagine this green, connected, cyclable city with vibrant spaces, and we look at how we achieve that. There's a lot of work that's happening in terms of policy, and we know what the solutions and the science are. The issue is that gap between how you get people to buy in, how you get politicians to buy in, how you get the public to buy in. And whilst I'm personally quite uncomfortable with the emphasis that is sometimes put on individual responsibility, you need to recycle more and we'll solve climate change, it actually does play a part. So we still lobby government, we still advocate, we still have good policies, but we look at what we can do ourselves, which is why Council has been advocating that we all do one wee thing. One wee thing. Recycle more. Get the bus to work. Cycle. Maybe look at how often you buy clothes and extending the life of your wardrobe. Buy secondhand. There are different things that we can do. Collectively, that does create an impact, but crucially, it keeps the environment on the agenda and it personalizes it. And that really is something that I thought, okay, well, we're talking about this and we're conscious of this. I need to bring it into my year as Lord Mayor. So every month I have a Lord Mayor's Environmental Challenge. It started with getting the bus to City Hall. It then went to cycling to City Hall. I haven't been on a bike since I was 10 years old and did not have much natural aptitude then, still don't. But I can legitimately advocate for improved cycling infrastructure because I have cycled down the Ravenhill Road at 8:30 a.m. on a Monday morning in the rain, and I know that we need to improve it. I've gone into schools and spoken to children and young people about what we need to do. I'm being quizzed by 8-year-olds about what Belfast City Council is doing to invest in solar energy, and I have gone plastic-free, and learned that going plastic-free is pretty hard. And while I know that a monthly Lord Mayor's Environmental Challenge isn't going to save the world, as much as I know that hope isn't going to save us, it's action. Action will save us. And when I'm looking at how we bridge that gap between policy and getting people to buy in, for me, there is nothing more motivating or inspiring than the voices of children. So I suppose the message from this and what I want everyone to think about is if we're to create that Belfast in 2050, that Belfast that is green and clean and safe and one where we all feel happy and proud to live, one wee thing we can all do is see the future through the eyes of the next generation. Thank you.